Irish Catholics who believed in the real presence of Jesus in the host and actually did worship it because they believed it consecrated host was the body of Jesus. They were idolaters. And the Old Testament tells these Puritans that the idolaters have to be destroyed. Their cousins, the Puritans up in Boston, were around the same time hanging Quakers in Boston Common. But these liberals said, and also this, look, we oppose the absolute power of the king. We will oppose the absolute power of Parliament as well. One of the Leveler writers said, even the Magna Carta is but a feeble thing. And they gradually came and finally came to the conclusion that everyone has, by nature, inalienable rights. That you know that word in the Declaration of Independence, inalienable. What does it mean?
Non-transferable.
Huh?
Non-transferable.
Not transferable. It means basically that you couldn't even give away your rights if you wanted to. Just like you can't live by eating grass. It's not your nature. So you cannot give your rights away. You always have them. They're part of your nature as a human being. Now, this was, and Murray says this is the beginning of liberalism. In the 18th century, finally what happens, as you know, probably, is that James II goes too far and is chased out. His daughter, who is a Stuart, and her Dutch husband, William and Mary, become the rulers, and basically this is the victory of Parliament over the king. The 18th century is the century of the consolidation and basic theorizing of liberalism. Really now, for the first time, economic science comes into the picture. As Murray points out, more with the French, really, Turgot, more than Adam Smith. Murray had a thing against Adam Smith. But nonetheless, Adam Smith is in the direction of laissez-faire, although he equivocates. But all over, theoreticians are coming along that proclaim what we would recognize easily as liberalism. Now, and since England won what was basically a liberal or quasi-liberal revolt against absolutism and prospered, obviously, the English were the richest people in Europe. They won wars. They had this empire. That conveyed the idea of the superiority of liberal ways in a demonstration effect to others. Finally, the great demonstration effect will come into existence, and that's the United States. Joyce Appleby of UCLA says that what happened was that the American colonies had virtually no government at all. And they discovered, amazingly, that didn't make much of a difference. That people could combine and associate together for common goals and be enormously successful. I had a good quote from this is Thomas Paine. Okay, great part of that order which reigns among mankind is not the effect of government. It has its origin in the principles of society and the natural constitution of man. It existed prior to government and would exist if the formality of government was abolished. In fine, society performs for itself almost everything which is ascribed to government. By the way, a short definition of liberalism, I would say, is the political position that a society defined as the social order minus the state, and given broad acceptance of individual rights, more or less runs itself. That more or less is a little wiggle room to accommodate a range of liberals. So finally, the American colonists revolted against George III and decided to secede from the British Empire. This was not really you could call it a revolution, but it basically what they wanted to do simply was secede and mind their own business, and if you let us secede, fine, let us go in peace. And they set up, Madison and the others, what they thought was a constitution that would guarantee individual freedom. It set up a central government of strictly limited and delegated powers. If you get a chance and you're not clear about it, read the Bill of Rights. The Ninth Amendment says that the enumeration of rights here shall not be taken to disparage other rights. In other words, we didn't mention here that people have the freedom to marry, they have the freedom to travel, and so on. Those are understood. And the 10th Amendment says that the powers not given by this Constitution to the central government shall be reserved to the states, respectively, and to the people. In other words, the central government was a government of strictly delegated powers, narrowly understood. That United States came to an end in 1865 at Appomattox with the surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia. Well, plenty more to say, and I'll deal with maybe a little more in my talk tomorrow on war and peace. Thank you.